Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing a really focused exploration tailored just for you, actually, based on the document you sent over, engaging in global mission. Think of this as, well, your personal guide. We're trying to help you understand this really vital topic without you getting totally lost in the weeds.
Exactly. We're diving straight into what global mission really is.
Yeah.
The church's role, which is absolutely crucial, and some of the most effective ways people are actually working to connect with those groups who haven't really had a chance to hear the gospel.
Right.
Our goal here for you is to pull out those key insights about God's sort of big plan, how the church fits, and maybe some tangible ways to engage, all coming from your document.
Absolutely. And we've got chapters here, excerpts too, that really unpack the whole landscape of global mission, and honestly, some really eye-opening stuff in here.
Yeah.
We're going to look at how the sort of center of Christianity is actually shifting dramatically around the world, what it even means for a group to be unreached or unengaged, some really creative strategies people are using.
That's good.
So yeah, get ready. We're going to dig in and hopefully connect some vital pieces for you.
Okay, so let's start right at the foundation, God's mission itself. What really struck me from the document you provided is how absolutely central this is. It's not just an activity, it's like part of God's core character.
Right.
The text describes God as inherently ascending God. And this goes way back, right from creation.
That's right. The document talks about this constant flow, doesn't it? The Father sending the Son then sending the Spirit. It's this outgoing nature of God, this impulse to connect, to redeem. And that leads to this powerful idea, you mentioned it, Missio Dei, the mission of God. It's not just something, we decide to do for God.
Yeah.
But as the text puts it, our calling is to join him in this redemptive work.
It kind of makes you think differently about your own role, doesn't it? Like we're stepping into something already moving.
It really does. And the document, it lays out the biblical roots for this so well, going all the way back. Think about the covenants.
Okay.
Like Noah, after the flood. That wasn't just saving one family, was it? It was about renewal for, all of creation. Then you get to Abraham, Genesis 12. God says his descendants will be a blessing to all nations. These weren't just like isolated promises. They were God showing more and more of his global heart.
And the prophets fit in here too, right?
Yeah.
The text points out they weren't just talking to Israel. They were calling Israel to be a light, to show God's character to everyone around them.
Exactly.
Even like Isaiah talking about the suffering servant that points towards Jesus redeeming everyone. It's like this big story unfolding.
It is. And that thread runs right into the Gospels. Jesus himself, the document says, is the ultimate embodiment of mission, the incarnation God becoming human.
Not some distant God, but one who jumped right into our mess to heal, forgive, transform. His whole life, really, reaching out to the marginalized building community.
Yeah.
That was the mission.
And then, the Great Commission, Matthew 28, Acts 1.8. The document really stresses this isn't just a command barked at the disciples. It's more like an invitation, isn't it?
An invitation, yes.
To join in with what God's already doing. It's his mission, already moving. We're just empowered by the Spirit to be part of extending that reach, to the ends of the earth.
And what's crucial to get, as your document highlights, is that this mission isn't just about, say, individual salvation alone.
Yeah.
It's way bigger.
How so?
It's about restoring everything sin broke. Our relationship with God, sure, but also with each other, our communities, the systems we build, even our connection to the earth itself.
Wow, okay.
So things like, sharing the gospel, working for justice, showing mercy, making disciples are all connected, part of God's big plan to make everything new.
Okay, so God's mission is the driving force, the core narrative. Now, how does the church fit in? Your document makes a really strong case here, that the church isn't just like sitting back. It's the main way God carries the message forward, a catalyst.
A catalyst, yes. And what's really insightful is the focus on corporate witness. It draws from the early church in Acts,
Right, Acts 2 and 4.
Exactly. How they shared everything, cared for each other.
Yeah.
That unity wasn't just, nice vibes. It was a powerful living demonstration of God's grace. It made people look and say, wow, what's going on there? It made the message believable.
It paints this really cool picture of every local church as a launching pad. I like that.
So do you?
It shifts the focus, doesn't it? From just a few special missionaries going out to the idea that everyone in the church is empowered, living missionally, day to day, with your neighbor, or maybe someone across the world. Everyone's got a part.
And the document brings up something really significant that's happening right now globally. For ages, Christianity felt very Western-centric, right?
Mm.
But now, the majority of Christians are actually in the global South, Africa, Asia, Latin America. This is huge for Western churches.
How so? What are the implications?
Well, it means it's not a one-way street anymore. We, in the West, really need to be listening, collaborating, empowering local leaders there, recognizing the amazing insights and vibrant faith coming out of their cultures.
So it's about contextualized engagement. That phrase comes up.
Exactly. The text really hammers this home. You got to immerse yourself in the culture, learn the language, the customs, and crucially, empower the local believers to lead, to shape their own churches.
Right, so the gospel takes root authentically, not just like a Western import.
Precisely. It needs to make sense and transform people within their own understanding.
Eh?
And this ties into the idea of holistic mission, which the document also stresses. It's not just spiritual transformation, sharing the gospel, planting churches. It's also social restoration, education, healthcare, justice work, economic empowerment jobs, sustainable development.
Caring for the whole person.
Yes. Addressing spiritual and physical needs. It's all connected in God's restorative plan.
This brings us nicely to this critical area, understanding and prioritizing the unreached and the unengaged. We hear these terms a lot in mission circles, and your document does a good job defining them clearly for you, the listener.
Yes, it does. So unreached people groups, or UPGs, the definition is quite specific. It means groups of people who don't have an indigenous community of believers strong enough or large enough to effectively evangelize their own people within their own culture.
Indigenous being the key word there, like self-sustaining.
Exactly. Think maybe remote communities or distinct ethnic groups where the gospel just hasn't taken root in a way that can grow on its own yet.
Okay, and then unengaged, how's that different?
Unengaged groups, the document explains, are those who've had basically little or no meaningful contact with the gospel message at all, even if maybe geographically they're near Christians. It highlights the lack of sort of intentional relational work needed to even start sharing the faith in those communities.
Yeah. Got it. So one might know about Christianity vaguely, but hasn't been truly engaged with the message or messengers.
Something like that. And a key insight here is prioritizing relationships and these people groups over just thinking about countries or borders.
Right, that's a shift.
Historically, missions sometimes organized by nation. But the text argues we need to focus on specific ethnic communities, tribes, cultural segments. You could have Christians in a country, but still have tons of distinct groups within that country totally unreached because no one's focused on their specific culture.
That makes sense. The document really hits home the sheer numbers involved, the statistical reality of these unreached groups, and the need for strategies that are really local, really culturally relevant.
Yes, and it talks about the barriers, too. Things like, well, geopolitical stuff, closed borders, cultural resistance, maybe seeing it as foreign intrusion, spiritual strongholds, different worldviews, and just practical things like mountains or deserts or language barriers.
Yeah, lots of challenges.
And it introduces that concept of the 1040 window.
Ah, yes, I've heard of that.
It's this specific region of the world, sort of a band across North Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, with a really high concentration of these unreached peoples, often facing pretty significant spiritual and socioeconomic challenges, too.
Yeah.
It highlights a major area of need.
Okay, so given that need and the shift towards people groups, let's talk strategies. The document covers strategic mission methods for this, well, constantly changing world. It's clear old ways aren't always enough, right?
Absolutely not. The text really emphasizes using data, using good missiological research to actually understand these groups, their languages, cultures, social structures, worldviews, moving beyond just assumptions, getting a really informed picture.
So less guesswork, more homework.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it highlights the enduring value of just relationships, relational engagement, not just dropping in with a message and leaving.
Right.
But the slow, often hard work of building long-term trust, maybe setting up community centers that become natural places for connection, for learning, and ultimately for transformation happening within the community.
And technology comes into play, too.
Definitely. Leveraging tech and innovation is presented as, well, a vital tool. Digital platforms, mobile outreach, even doing discipleship online. These can overcome geographical hurdles, connect with people in new ways.
But with a caution, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. The document rightly insists this has to be done with deep cultural sensitivity. It has to be appropriate. You can't just blast Western content everywhere.
Makes sense. And partnerships, that seems crucial too.
Hugely crucial. Collaborating authentically with local churches, local organizations, and really truly empowering indigenous leaders. The document's clear.
Mm.
The future isn't just more Westerners going out.
Mm.
It's about fostering these real global partnerships where local believers are equipped, empowered, leading the work in their own context.
And what about places where traditional missionaries just can't go? Restricted access nations.
Yeah, the text introduces business's mission, or BAM. This is seen as a really effective way in. By starting legitimate, ethical businesses, people can live and work in these areas, build real relationships, make a positive economic contribution.
And be a witness through how they live and work.
Exactly. Through their integrity, their service. It opens doors.
So BAM, creative access strategies for tough spots. What else?
Well, it also powerfully underscores the basics, which are never not strategic. Consistent, focused prayer. Like actually interceding for specific people groups, specific challenges, and financial stewardship, intentionally directing resources to support effective work among the unreached. These are foundational.
Can't forget those. And contextualization comes up again here.
Yes, because it's vital for strategy. Adapting how the gospel is presented so it genuinely connects in that culture, but without watering down the core message.
Like understanding honor-shame dynamics versus guilt-innocence.
Precisely. Or knowing when telling stories is more effective than, say, a three-point sermon. Little things that make a big difference in communication. And it all circles back again to being holistic, addressing both spiritual and physical needs.
Okay, this is all incredibly important globally, but let's bring it home. What does this mean for you, the listener, in your own life? How can someone practically engage, even if they're not, packing bags to go overseas?
That is the key question, isn't it? And the document really stresses this. God's global mission needs local faithfulness from every single one of us. It's not always about doing more things or traveling far away.
So what is it about then?
It's about aligning your personal faith, your everyday life, with God's big heart for the whole world, right where you are planted.
Okay, so give me some practicals. What does that look like?
Well, prayer is foundational, as we said. Actively praying for missionaries, for specific unreached groups, for the gospel to spread. It's huge. Then there's evangelism in your own sphere, what the document calls crossing the street.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, just being aware of opportunities to share your faith, show God's love in your normal everyday interactions with colleagues, neighbors, friends.
And acts of service.
Absolutely. Showing compassion locally. Volunteering, supporting organizations, helping the marginalized, advocating for justice in your own community. Every act of kindness reflects God's kingdom values. And the text encourages just, becoming more globally aware. Taking the initiative, learn about global poverty, learn about persecuted Christians, learn about the realities unreached people face. Just know what's going on.
And it prompts some personal reflection too, doesn't it? Thinking about your own gifts, your passions.
Exactly. How might your specific gifts, the things God make you passionate about, connect with his global mission? It poses some direct questions for you, the listener, to chew on. How are you contributing right now, even in small ways?
Yeah.
And maybe what's one concrete step you could take, like this week, to be a bit more intentional about aligning your life with this bigger picture?
So wrapping this deep dive up, we've gone through your document, pulled out some key themes. God's mission is central. It's who he is. The church is his primary vehicle. Prioritizing the unreached is crucial. And we need strategic, sensitive methods for today's world.
That sums it up well. And hopefully you, our listener, have picked up some maybe surprising insights, especially around how Christianity is shifting globally and the real challenges involved in reaching those still waiting to hear.
Yeah, definitely some food for thought.
So maybe here's a final thought for you to mull over. This unfinished task of reaching the unreached. It isn't just some huge, abstract, global project happening out there.
Okay.
It's also a deeply personal invitation to each of us to join God in his ongoing story, his redemption plan for all people groups, wherever they are.
An invitation. I like that.
So we'd encourage you, keep exploring this, look for other resources, and really reflect on what your unique part might be in this incredible ongoing mission.